The only three things I pay attention to are what's happening with data and data privacy. Because that's our biggest concern with whether or not we're able to use these tools in our office. We believe that people appreciate straightforward answers. And a lot of times we have to be there to be that person that not necessarily telling the people what they want to hear, because that doesn't serve the clients in most aspects. From the family law practitioner standpoint, that is the hardest part of the job, is we take these cases very serious, and we want to do a good job for our clients. And we do internalize that this is their lives, and so the failure of performance can't be on us.
Looking for real stories of real people making a difference in the Grand Canyon State? Welcome to Finding Arizona podcast. We sit down with Arizona's inspiring entrepreneurs, creatives, and community leaders, and give you a front row seat to their journeys, passions, and projects. Whether you're a local trying to find a hidden gem, or just enjoy watching someone chase their dreams, Finding Arizona is your go-to place for authentic conversations with a desert twist. New episodes drop weekly, so hit subscribe and start exploring Arizona one story at a time. Welcome back, everybody, to the Finding Arizona podcast. I'm your host, Jose, and as always, we bring in fantastic guests every week. Ladies and gentlemen, I have Justin Tash here in front of me, who is CEO and founding partner of BTL Family Law, a firm that he built from the ground up here in Arizona with the philosophy that honesty sounds simple, but it is pretty rare in practice. That families go through divorce or custody battles deserve clarity, structure, and straight answers, not confusion and unnecessary conflict. What makes Justin's story compelling for this show isn't that it's just a law firm, it's the builders behind it. So over time, he's realized that serving clients well started on the inside. That meant creating real systems, a healthy team culture, and an environment where attorneys, staff, could actually do their best work. So I'm very excited to have a conversation with Justin and what he believes in and about his team. So Justin, thank you for being here for BTL Family Law.
Oh, thanks for having me in here.
I'll ask you the question that we typically ask everyone is, can you give us a little bit of the origin story? I know that from my own research how it began, but I would love our audience to kind of get a background on you, on top of which, one of the reasons why I asked this is to get an understanding about the root of the tree, like understanding what was it like growing up? Was there someone in your own family that practiced law or anything like that?
Sure. Yeah. No. I'm Arizona boy. Grew up here.
Nice.
Never leave. The Scottsdale area.
Okay.
And then as I aged, I moved around the valley and lived in different areas. But I'll never leave Arizona. Visit other places, but never leave. Same. And I kind of started out going into on a law enforcement path. I was gonna go into law enforcement, and when I was coming of age to start actually applying at places, that was right in that 2008, 2009 time frame. And I was looking at agencies that were laying off people by the hundreds, and I looked at what job security looked like. As you're getting older, you're starting to worry about people could just lay you off, and understand that. So I decided to continue my education, and instead of going to a grad school or something like that, I decided to go to law school.
Did you go to ASU?
I went to Arizona Summit.
Okay.
During that time, I was working with my dad. He always had a private investigation practice or firm.
Yeah.
And we added process serving to that. So him and I worked to build that up into a company.
Okay.
And so I did that during undergrad and law school. And then after law school, I got started at a family law firm. And I always had this drive to kind of build my own thing.
Yeah.
And so I met two great people during that time, my partners today.
Yeah.
And we started BTL Family Law. We were formerly called Burgraff Tash Levy, but no one knew what we did. So,
I like that.
So now we changed it to BTL Family Law. And I transitioned shortly after. I realized that I really enjoyed building a business. And that's what I really enjoyed about the firm.
Yeah.
And then I transitioned from an attorney who runs a business to a CEO who happens to be an attorney.
Yeah.
And that kind of transition. As far as the practice itself, we believe that people appreciate straightforward answers. And a lot of times we have to be there to be that person that not necessarily telling the people what they want to hear, because that doesn't serve the clients in most aspects.
Yeah.
Cheerleading for clients doesn't really serve them. All it does is increase conflict and increase fees.
Yeah.
And it doesn't help people move forward. We don't want people to be sitting at a bar, 30 years from now complaining about their divorce. We want them to be able to move forward. Everyone, they want to fight about things at first because it's a very emotional area of law. And 100% understand that. But we have to be able to talk to people about what this looks like in your future.
Yeah.
And we have a thing that sometimes we say, whose retirement are you saving for, yours or mine? So helping people kind of get through this with the clarity of, we need you to get through this really challenging part in your life. It's awful. We understand.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't be doing our job if we weren't telling you, well, we could try to do this and it's going to cost you this.
Yeah.
And navigating through our experience and our education and stuff like that.
I think that's really beautiful that you've kind of went the route of like, where I am very much the cheerleader of the person, the entrepreneur and stuff like that. But there's a realization of like, to get stuff done, to get to the other side of this painful situation, we have to be honest and we have to be straightforward. The only way out is through, sort of deal. And so I think that there is a level of like, there's necessary that is needed for these kind of very tactical strategies to moving forward. And so it's a very spoonful of like your medicine of like, you need that sort of thing, especially in a trying time like this. So I will kind of orient back to your past of like, are you married? Do you have like a kind of, what was your parents' marriage like?
Yeah. So I am a child of divorce, but I was very lucky in that a lot of the terrible things we see in cases today, I never experienced any of that.
Great.
My parents were very appropriate with what I knew and didn't know.
Yeah.
It didn't really, I'm very fortunate to not have these horror stories that other people have. And I am married, and being a husband and a father are my most prized titles. And I think that I'm more protective of my marriage in the career that I have.
For sure.
And I really take it seriously, and I'm also fortunate enough to be able to kind of learn from other people.
Of course. Yeah.
What little issues pop up in a marriage that hopefully I can hit off.
Yeah.
And most of it, to get straight to the point, most of it's communication.
Yeah.
Failure to communicate and address issues appropriately with one another.
Oh yeah.
And learning how the other person likes to communicate. My wife and I communicate differently.
Yeah.
I'm very direct, and she likes to talk through problems.
Yeah.
Things like that. So.
And there's something that I learned the other day. It's like, just because you give direction doesn't mean it's heard the same way. And so we have to learn that kind of style, especially not only in the places that we work, but also in our relationships day to day. It's like, we can be as straight and direct as forward, but sometimes the way that it is interpreted or the way that it is digested by the individual can be misconstrued in some sort of way. So it's better to have an over amount of communication, or sometimes with that individual, just kind of a redirection sort of deal, where it's like just touching base, making sure we're, doing the things that we need to do. I agree 100%. I try my best every day to make my marriage and my relationship with my son, the family, the two things are the most important parts of, the categorization that I put myself in. I really do enjoy, my son changed my life for the better. Like, it was very much a 180, before and after. With my wife, I try my best, because I know it's a communication thing that we've learned hard lessons through, but also the fact that it does really work. When I let myself communicate more, it's just when I try. It's the most difficult times, hard through us is like, yeah, having those sit down conversations that is dragged out, but it's necessary because we solve the problem and we try and come up with a solution. And it's more, I guess, relieving for us, at least from the standpoint of like, it's not a sword over our head, just kind of, on a string waiting to drop. So
that communication and how you're heard concept is something that I've been working on for years. I've been very fortunate enough to be able to engage executive leadership coaches and things like that. And I've been working on this, how I'm heard, because I do have a tendency just to come off very direct, and it's off-putting to people. I understand. I say that this is my wife. Everyone enjoys talking to her. Not really me.
This is so it's vice versa for my wife and I. So she's the direct, because she comes from a place of she's been in the business, like building businesses and like working with entrepreneurs and all types. So she has to be the direct link. Like she has to be as direct as possible with clients and with the culture at hand. So she's very direct, and so she's like, "You're the podcaster. You're the flowery." Like I'm like, "Okay, I get that." And I'm like, for us, the way that we've kind of done it, where it's like, yeah, I have to have that moment of like sit down, flowery, but she also needs to be, okay, my needs are A, B, and C, and we also need to communicate where we meet in the middle. So that's always been just kind of for us, we're really well put together because I'll tell this. We have our yearly financial like talk at the end of the year, and then we do like a 6-month in between, like where we want to be. And then also on top of that, it's like our relationship stuff. We try and communicate at least once a week. If not, we'll go on walks, together and just try and do it that way, have those talks. But it's different strokes for different folks. I tell them like, whatever works for you, like just talk. But at the end of the day, having those kind of what seems like mundane or what seems like a slog will definitely be a breath of fresh air, because you don't know what your partner might communicate to you in the long term. I mean, they might be more apt to what you're trying to do versus not. So I always try and lean on having those talks are a lot easier if you're just used to having talks a little bit more. So it's routine.
And sometimes just being a sounding board for people is helpful.
Yeah.
My wife and I, we heard this thing and we use it a lot, especially with my personality. I'm very direct and I'm very problem solving oriented. And so before we start, sometimes should I have to tell you something? She's like, but I need a tissue, not a toolbox. And
Got it.
The
other thing,
and that tells me I'm just here to listen.
Yeah.
And contribute to the conversation. Absolutely. But I'm not trying to solve a problem.
Yeah.
And for me, that helps me to in the conversation not get frustrated during the conversation.
Yeah. So like that's directly towards our relationship. She goes, do you need an answer? Do you need me to hear you, or do you need me to solve something for you? So like those are the types of things. It's like she helps me kind of break through when I need that stuff, and vice versa. Sometimes she needs that. Like, one of the things, and I don't know if the book is here. It's called Atlas of the Heart. It's by Brene Brown. And one of the things that we've slowly started to learn is like she brought up. She's like, when at the end of the day, it's like, how your battery works and operates. So if like, you're having a struggle of a day, she's like, you just tell your partner, look, I'm at 40 or I'm at 30. I need you to pick up the 60. And like for us, especially being that we're sports people, especially my wife is like baseball and kind of like baseball and hockey. So I kind of try my best to be like, hey, look, it's bottom of the ninth. I'm slagging here. I'm 0 for 4. I need you to hit a homer for tonight. And so that type of stuff, we make fun of, but it just works sometimes because you and your partner just get it. And that works for you. So
it's that honest communication without a fear of, I guess, judgment or reprisal, where this is where I'm at. And then it also, what you're describing also is you guys approaching life as a team.
Yeah.
Like you're two people trying to reach a goal of some kind or whatever that goal is, but you're describing people working together as a team.
Yeah. So I will kind of ask you, in the process of doing your whole working with your dad and meeting these individuals, what was the conversation like when you, like, did you talk to your dad about wanting to do your own thing? And like, what was that kind of rolling out point from moving forward with doing stuff with your dad to starting your own business and kind of moving that way? What was his conversations like with you as far as business, especially in the fact that you did bring up a childhood divorce? I mean, what were your parents' involvement in business at your expense?
Sure. Yeah. So I come from a family of entrepreneurs. My dad's an entrepreneur. My grandpa was an entrepreneur. And I think maybe that probably gave me the confidence and showed me a path of that direction.
Yeah.
And that's really what I'm trying to instill in my kids too. Mm-hmm. And so he was very supportive, and I also saw what it's like running a business. So I knew what I was shooting for, working with him and building the process serving side of the business.
Yeah.
I knew I was shooting for work 3 months from now, not today. If I was worried about work today, I'm already behind the ball.
Yeah. Yeah.
So shooting for that. And I knew what the ups and downs looked like. I also, I started little things throughout, high school through undergrad, where I sold T-shirts out of my trunk for a little bit in high school, and like little things like that. In elementary school or middle school or so, I would go around the neighborhood, and I had a little yard cleaning business.
Nice.
And things like that. So it kind of ingrained in me.
Yeah.
And then up and through so my dad was very supportive, and then up and through the development of the firm, I've been very fortunate to be able to, formal education.
Yeah.
And then two, as I mentioned, I was able to engage executive coaches and things like that.
That's wonderful.
And then be a part of fantastic mastermind groups. Mm-hmm. And I got really almost obsessed with the concept of business development. Yeah. And I've read all these business development books, and I've applied them, and taking all of that information that I was fortunate enough to get is kind of where I'm going next, and another tool that I built and things like that to kind of help entrepreneurs and stuff like that.
I love
so.
I'm very curious too, because the fact that you put so much involvement in kind of the fundamentals and the kind of the brain side of your business. I love that you've put so much effort on that side, because I think I've always been a proud believer of like culture starts from the top to the bottom. And so when the leaders are trying their best to make their business work on that level, fundamentally, like just foundationally, from like your everyday employee who comes in and clocks in and day out, if their satisfaction is key, and also the fact that it's like they're getting a lot out of being a partner to you, like helping you in your business, I think it works well when you're trying your best efforts to make everyone's job work and work on a well-rounded schedule, and doing all the things that you put in and the effort that you put in shows a lot, and it means a lot to them, because as someone who's probably been on that lower end of the ladder, I think it's just fundamentally, it's like, I want to be with a leader who's going to say, hey, it's like, if he asked me to do something for the business, I know for a fact that he's put in just the amount of effort, or just done the exact same thing. That leadership shows me that's like, they're doing the work just as much as I am.
Yeah, and we built this firm to protect our lives. Mm-hmm. Attorneys can really get into this work all of the time.
Yeah.
Kind of a trap, honestly.
Yeah.
And so we built our practice under the concept of our attorneys do a better job when they've had opportunities to rest.
Yeah.
And when they're still getting to run their lives, when they're still getting to go to their kids' events and things like that. So while there are times where you're working a lot, those are not the norm. We make sure that our attorneys have the flexibility to be able to attend their life events too. This job shouldn't be their life. And when the job turns out is their life, then one, we believe the practice itself suffers. And we also believe that that's why this area of law has such a high burnout rate.
Yeah.
Because it's easy to fall into that. I'm working from, 7 to 7, and I don't have time to see my kids. I don't have time to rest on the weekends. I'm filing things at midnight.
Yeah.
Every once in a while, that's just part of it. It's a volatile area of law.
Yeah.
But that is not the norm in our office.
Yeah.
People leave. We leave at 5.
I like that.
Most of the time.
Yeah. I just really quickly, if you could give us a real kind of quick, like the fundamental of what you want your people to like, your employees that come in and day out, what would you say you would like them to walk away every day, like saying to themselves about BTL, family law?
That's an interesting question. We've always said in the office that, and one of the reasons we built the firm too is, so as I've mentioned a couple times, it's a challenging area of law. Opposing parties can be challenging. Opposing counsels can be challenging.
Sure.
Not everyone is polite and respectful when they speak to you.
Yeah.
So there's a lot that we cannot control in this practice.
Yeah.
And so what we've said, we can't control what happens outside of this building very well.
Yeah.
Right? We can't control other people's actions and things.
Yeah.
But we can control how we act and who we work with and our experience in this building.
Yeah.
So people walking away and saying that I work in a challenging area of law, but I'm glad I work at BTL.
That's what I like to hear. That's what I like to hear. So we're going to take a little bit of a break, and then we'll come back. I'll have some more questions for you.
Okay, great.
All right, great. Hey, all you Finding Arizona lovers. This is Jose here saying, are you struggling to get your podcast idea out there? Well, Found House Production is here to help with professional recording, seamless editing, and a sound that keeps the audience coming back. Whether you are a first timer or trying to scale up, our team handles everything from mixing to distribution. So stop dreaming about your podcast and start making it. So we were just talking about your firm, and one of the things that I am particularly fond of is the fact that you had brought up your love for wanting to build a culture around your business that is positive. Also, on top of that, you want your groups to learn from your leadership and to learn from your skill sets. One of the things that I think that I've read about, and please tell me if I'm the growth pilot. Yeah. Give us a little bit of insight on that. And then also, I will touch upon just the fact that you brought up a couple of things that I think will also lead into some other ideas. So please tell us about the growth pilot.
Yeah. So, again, I've been very fortunate in my formal education, the mastermind groups, executive leadership, coaching, and the education that I've learned hands-on in building this business.
Yeah.
And I put all of that into this tool that I have called Growth Pilot.
Yeah.
And what this is it's everything that I learned along the way that I think that would help the people that I see every day. Awesome. The people that I see in, the various chamber of commerce meetings, the various networking groups. It's for the entrepreneur that I see get stuck at this $50,000 to $70,000 a year income, and it's really for anyone who hasn't reached the top line revenue of about $350,000 a year to $1 million in between there. And it's a compilation of what I've learned in building my business and all this education that I've had, and I put it into an app.
Okay.
And it's very intentional. Everything about the app is very intentional. Basically, you complete an intake form.
Yeah.
And the intake form, it gets to the root of your why.
Yeah.
And then it gets to the root of, well, what is moving the needle for you in your business today? And then it creates a kind of a task list for you. And it then you work through that on a 30-day cycle.
Nice.
And the neat part of it is it is all supported by AI.
I love it.
And so you do your intake form, and then the AI it creates your plan for you. You have input, you have accountability, you have a commitment in it, but it creates it for you. And then there's an AI chatbot inside it to help you work through problems. And then the real neat part of it, which is where it really differs from other tools like this, is the accountability aspect of it, which is important for entrepreneurs.
Yes.
As entrepreneurs, we can do whatever we want. I don't have to go to work today. I don't have to do this task today. And that consistent execution is really where I see the growth under that 350 to $1 million in annual top line revenue.
Do you get is it like a feedback loop of sort of like you're feeding it data and then it kind of emails you like the task list, or?
So it creates a daily task list for you. And then if you don't complete the task one day, the task moved to the next day.
Got it.
It's a 30-day cycle, and it really is focused in on some of the mistakes I've made where I've gotten distracted in my business.
Yeah.
Where if I had just focused on what I knew moved the needle every month, then I would have been better off, right?
Yeah.
And as far as the accountability and the follow-up, it goes beyond an email. What it does is if you don't log in and participate one day, then you get an email.
Got it.
If you don't for 2 days straight, then you get a text message. On the third day, you get a phone call. And the AI calls you and has a conversation with you. And just sees where you're at, what's going on, what can we get you what can we do to get moving forward today? And that's really the difference. So
I like that.
I have these philosophies and these things that I've learned, and they could have been put into a book, but once you read these books, you kind of realize that they're all very similar. And the real secret sauce is in the execution and the gamification of it.
Yeah.
So I put it into an app that people can use and learn these different skill sets throughout actually utilizing the app. All of the things in this skill set: one, creating a goal, sticking with it, and remembering why you're doing it. Two, daily tracking, daily accountability, and daily monitoring of your KPIs. You should be looking at these things every day. Anybody could ask me my information any single day, and I look at it. When you start avoiding looking at the numbers, that's when the problems creep in.
Oh, trust me, I very, very much that's the other thing is as I'm learning from each entrepreneur, I'm kind of learning and picking up different things, and that's definitely one of the things I want to get better at is knowing my numbers, because there will come a time where it's okay, Jose, well, let's run it up. Let's see how it is. What are your quantifiable numbers and KPIs? Yeah. And some of it, I'm I have no idea. It's that's scary. That's a scary thing not to know. But it's also just a testament of I've tried my best to keep all of these spinning plates going. But I know there are some things that I'm inefficient at or some things that I couldn't get to because I am focused on all of these other tasks. Now, that's not an excuse, but that's also just a statement of I need to get better. And this is how I get better, by learning through the entrepreneurs in front of me that give me different levels of yes, I should know the numbers. Yes, I should know, try this or try that. And so I try my best to I'm getting better. I feel every day. And one of the things that I truly am thankful for that I've gotten real feedback or real great, it's just journaling a lot more, knowing the numbers, just having a concept of how this business runs just up here or just down on paper. I have it down on paper, but it's one of the things that I try my best is doing and developing the business side and knowing the numbers. I've done now the yearly, and now I'm going to more of now into the different quarters, how this business will slowly get better and better, and the numbers come with that, doing the work.
Yeah, absolutely. And you touched on what is basically the framework of my AI business coach inside Growth Pilot. It's different than if you were to use whatever your favorite LLM is. It will communicate with you in a Socratic and method And its whole goal is to help you learn to think critically and help you learn to problem solve.
Yeah.
It's not there to give you answers. If you want to do that, then use your LLM and go research it, find your answer, and see whatever it wants to do. But what it does is it helps you invert the question. It helps you, it'll work with you to how to solve problems. It'll say, what are your 3 potential solutions? What have you tried already? Yeah. And what do you think is the best route forward? And what I also want it to instill in people, in the entrepreneur, is their own confidence. In the end, they know their business is better than any of us do. And that gut feeling is a real superpower, and people need to lean into it. And so this helps reinforce that. The whole point of Growth Pilot is for people to learn these fundamental basics that will help them get to that 350 to $1 million. And then they should outgrow my tool.
Yeah.
They really should be then going and getting into these mastermind groups and personal coaches. And this is just a bridge. It's just trying to teach everybody the fundamental basics, the tools and the foundation that they'll need to get up past $1 million, past 2, all of those things. They'll need these foundational tools. But it's not a replacement for eventually, I think, mastermind groups, in-person conversations, personal coaches, I think those are irreplaceable. But I remember also sitting in a room young in our growth of BTL with a coach telling me a price that was more each month that I make. Yeah. And so I'm trying to bring this education in a way that's more consumable and more, and the tool itself teaches instead of tells, because we can all read books, but if we don't apply it, then it doesn't matter, you know.
Have you thought, like, so you brought up the book part. Have you thought about doing the book in a different fashion?
I think eventually I might do some kind of a book, but I'm also starting to engage more on social media. I didn't really have a presence more there. And so this next month, people will start seeing me post about my lessons, my philosophies, and what I've learned. So I think I'll probably just put my book out there like that.
Yeah, that'll be great.
A little easier for people to consume.
Have you, so the partners, have they heard about this app, and like what was their response when you? Yeah,
I've told them a little bit about it. You know, they're supportive.
That's
wonderful. They think it's neat and stuff. I'm more leaning into AI than any of my partners really are. Okay. But that's also my role on the office is to make sure I'm evaluating technologies as they emerge. As attorneys, we have a duty to stay competent with technology, and AI is definitely going to be a part of the law practice in the future. It's rough now. Its products and things like that are rough now, but you know, look at where it's been a year, 2 years ago. It'll be a part of it.
I'm curious from the level of standpoint from the legal side, have you and your partners, because you're the more one that's like leaning towards AI, but have you been taking note of like the battles between Google, OpenAI, and some of the legal things going on behind the scenes between the AI companies?
My issue, the only really things I pay attention to are what's happening with data and data privacy. Because that's our biggest concern with whether or not we're able to use these tools in our office. And as is with anything, any new technology, the legal community is usually fairly slow to adopt it. But I don't think that's going to be the way with AI because of the billions of dollars that are being invested into the legal community as it relates to AI. And of course, we want to make sure that we're able to use these tools to make our practice better. But with that, we still have our ethical duties and obligations and to our clients.
Absolutely.
And so tools are being created for attorneys. I'm not sure they're the best tools. And so I have to look at the other resources. And this is all possible. I just need to make sure that, you know, we're complying with our ethical duties.
I think there's a level of like, there's so much that we as humans can utilize with this tool. And I clearly say use it as a tool, but I do feel some level of like standoffish, I guess, just towards some of the things that's like, especially with family issues and like stuff like that, where it's like privacy. Yeah, of course. But I know that this technology will eventually come to a point where it's like either we as humans need to step in to add that human factor, whatever kind of industry that it's involved with. Because I think just as a person, I feel like we have to have that segment of it, because there's a level of like, I don't even know, like someone brought up the idea of software brain, where we're using a lot of this AI back and forth, and they're like different than us, whereas there's no emotional attachment to it. So there's a somewhat level of like disassociation with how we communicate when in that software mode. And there's a level of like human warmth and texture that is involved when we're face to face like this. So
absolutely, AI is not going to take away soft skills. It is going to touch the legal community. It is not going to replace the litigator, and it is not going to replace the attorney. It's going to make us more efficient, and it's going to make our work product better. And but it's kind of the concept of having an assistant where you delegate a task, but it's still the attorney's responsibility to make sure that it was done correctly. It's not any different. Attorneys are getting into a lot of trouble right now. I don't know exactly what they're doing, but I don't know if they're not proofreading or what, but
I saw a couple of these where it's
I'm not exactly sure how this is happening, but
like they're getting their level of like letting them take the lead on research.
And that's unacceptable. Again, this is no different than having a law clerk in your office where you give them a task, and then but before that product leaves your door, you make sure that it's good. But you also have to be the mind there to direct it. So Growth Pilot, I built that app and a combination of the various AI tools out there, right? And
I was going to ask you, do you have a team, or were you doing self?
I
building?
did.
Nice.
With a combination of different AI tools.
Cool.
And I don't really know coding, but I understand logic statements.
Nice.
So
it's a level of vibe coding and a level of like, like I do a little bit to get by, and so like I'm very much for it, because I'm like, that's how. I mean, look at the personal computer. That's how some of this stuff has already kind of been invented. It's like, we're try.
Try. And it worked out, but there's a lot of late nights of me arguing with my vibe coding thing, and then I have another had like Claude open over here saying it's telling me to do this. I think it's wrong here. But you also have to read. You have to read what it's doing, read what it writes. A lot of these codes, no, I don't code, but you can read it, and it says it's doing this, and I don't think it should be doing that. They'll work themselves into loops, and you have to break them out of that loop. And sometimes my recommendation is correct. I say, why are we doing X, Y, and Z? You keep saying this is the problem. Why would this not be the solution? And
I have a video that this keeps reminding me of. So the he has a sandwich, and he's acting as the code, and he's like, cut this sandwich in half, and he's like cutting it the long way. He's like, no, the other way. And then he flips it upside down and cuts it still the long way. And he's like, no, the other. And it's like keeps rotating the sandwich till he's like, no, stop that. Do it that way.
And then a lot of it is that, but it's just that human element that's never going to go away. I think that people who don't proofread are going to get in a lot of trouble with AI. And then that concept of the degradation in education is going to appear. But people who are still the professionals in their industry, and they still take responsibility and accountability for their final work product, are just going to be more efficient.
Perfect.
And that's the general.
I love that, because for me, proficiency is always key for us, because we're on a like next person up sort of deal, where it's like, I love doing the research, but sometimes it gets like a loop where it's like, I have to break the loop, and having an assistant that, sometimes like a Claude will help me be okay. I need A, B, and C so that I can at least pick out from A, this little section, from B, this little section, and from C, this little section. And that's how I usually go about it. It's because that's, to me, it helps me stay one part like very efficient in like how I approach different questions. But also on top of that, it just, I can't go deep dive anymore. I have a 5-year-old who's like, Dad, I want your attention. Give me attention. Give me attention. So that to me is like you said, I will always make sure I proofread and double check the code that comes out or the question that I pull out of it, because I know it's like, it's good at its work, but I have to double check and make sure that it's what I want to say and how I want it to be perceived and stuff like that. So, you know, with everything, you just try your best to make it all your brand and your voice.
Yeah. And I think, remember in school where we had to cite our work all the time?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the more important than anything now.
Yeah.
Just because the AI says it, people treat it as gospel, and it's not. It pulled it from some blog on the website somewhere.
Exactly.
So use people using their own critical thinking skills and they say, oh, that doesn't sound right.
Yeah.
And understanding how LLMs deliver results is more of a probability concept. Is how they give you a response, and it's probably right because it's based on probabilities. But also, don't be afraid to break the wheel. Just because it was done this way or it was X, Y, and Z. That's how innovation happens.
Exactly. For you, especially the fact that we're talking about, especially with your business, there's an emotional level that we were talking about. The fact that people get very, when it comes to the family and when it comes to marriage and when it comes to your personal outlook and how it involves you as a man and individual, emotions run high. And so, you know, we've had law groups from one particular family, but also estate law and stuff like that. And even that has a level of emotion that goes into it. You know, how do you stay one part connected to your clients, but one part also emotionally balanced so that the workload doesn't get to you, or the frustration and economics of emotional volatility doesn't get to you?
I think that's the from the family law practitioner standpoint, that is the hardest part of the job. Is we take these cases very seriously. And we want to do a good job for our clients. Yeah. And we do internalize that this is their lives. And so the failure of performance can't be on us. Yeah. So we spend a lot more time preparing for things than we'll ever get paid for. But it's because we have a product that we want to put out. Yeah. And we want to make sure that we're showing up every day for when people need us the most. Yeah. And it can be physically draining. And the only way to protect against it is to build in guardrails and making sure that we're not taking on too many clients. We're not overworking our staff. And our staff is getting that ability for some reprieve. I like that. And then also the support too in our office. People need help, they just ask. If someone needs help with a project, I'm always happy to do whatever. Thanks. And that's really the only way that we found it. And, you know, people, where appropriate, I think everyone should be engaged in a level of counseling on their own. Yeah. And stuff if they feel like that might be helpful for them.
Well, that's great. I mean, ultimately, like, I think that you guys are running a really top-notch situation.
Well, thank you.
Because it's, again, the research that I've done and just sitting here with you now, I know that there's a level of like, you can lean on each other, and that's really great. And that ultimately will give everyone the sense of belonging and also a structure of like, hey, we got this. Like, you don't have to worry. If your job is, you know, you're going to be okay. We're going to help work through this together. And so I just always love that, because to me, having a level of conversation with the business owner and be like, oh, he's taking care of not only his employees, but he's also got a level head on him, makes me as the client be like, oh, I can trust you, or I can just work with you and it'll be easy for me, or I'll get what I need from you guys. So that's ultimately what I've always tried my best to give to our audience is this level of like, you can come to Justin and feel like you can talk to him and hang out and just be okay around him. So I do appreciate your time. We're reaching the end of our conversation, and towards the end of our conversation, I like to lean it towards the future. I mean, I know that you have this app, and I know you also have the business at hand, but I also know that you continue to work on yourself, and you continue to work on your mindset and how business works as a structure and as a system. Mm-hmm. Where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Not really sure. In 10 years, I'm sure I'll still have BTL. Mm-hmm. And I hope that Growth Pilot helps people reach the next level. Yeah. And I hope great success for that. I really hope that I'm having a conversation with you another time of success stories of clients using Growth Pilot.
You know what? And I'm going to have Growth Pilot is more than welcome to talk anytime. Come back in. I would love to have you in like a couple of years, or even in 1 year from now.
Yeah.
Like I would love to see how it's going. Yeah,
that'd be fantastic. Yeah. And then I'll always keep working on myself and growing and pushing the boundaries of what my education is.
Love it. I love that. So, I wish you nothing but the best of luck. Kudos to BTL, and also kudos to just like Growth Pilot and what the endeavors that you go into there. And man, you got some real big shoes to fill. And like, I'm looking at these boots, and man, you are rocking. And so like, whatever comes out of this, I hope that that we're rooting for you. At least one person is right here. And so I really do appreciate your time. Before we go, you can hear every episode of our podcast at findingarizonapodcast.com. Make it easy for you to find us on our website or our social medias, Finding Arizona Podcast under everything. But I did not ask you, please let everyone know where they can find you. I almost skipped over your
okay.
Go ahead, take the floor.
Yeah, if you have a family law issue here in the Phoenix area, you can reach out to us. We're at BTL Family Law. Our phone number 480-307-6800.
Yes.
And if you're looking to learn more from my experience building a business, then you can check out my social medias. They're pretty much all at Justin_Tash.
So I'm looking forward to the more of like the personal side, the branding side of you coming out. It's going to be fantastic.
Thank you.
It's going to be great.
Thank you.
And last but not least, kisses, hugs, and belly rubs to our four-legged friends, and we will see you next time. Bye, y'all. Thank you, Justin.
Thank you. That's fun.